drop of blood for every mile I'm on. I took all that they gave and lived to fight another day. But if today is all I get, I'll make my mark and you can bet that I'll never surrender. On this life, and I'll never surrender. On this life, I can't change the past, but I can change how the story turns. 'Cause it's not mistakes that make us, but the lessons learned. Because what doesn't kill me will make me stronger in the end. And I'll never surrender. On this life, and I'll never surrender. On this life, and even if I fall, I'll get back up, standing tall again, with a medal on my chest. God knows I've done my best. Because what doesn't kill me will make me stronger in the end. And I'll never surrender. On this life, and I'll never surrender. On this life, and I'll never surrender. On this life, and I'll never surrender. On this life,
Can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' regular, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Welcome to Homeland Heroes Salute podcast with your hosts Doug Macedo and Jim Roberg.
Welcome everybody. Welcome to another episode. I'm your host Doug, and today we've got a special guest with us today. The gentleman his name is Eddie. Give a little background. He's into doing some like a decompression. Trying to help individuals with some different techniques and stuff like that, but I'm gonna let him pass it over. But he is a owner of his own. He does his own thing, and go ahead and just give us the little bit, and then what you're doing.
Awesome. Well, thanks for having me on, Doug. As Doug mentioned, my name is Eddie Estell. I am the Mindset and Performance Coach at the Mental Mechanic Institute. I've been fully operative since 2019 on a very small scale. I decided to ramp up this year in the mindset and performance sector. Before then, I was strictly sales psychology coaching, doing a lot of sales consulting for small businesses.
Yep.
But I decided to go in a separate direction due to some jobs I had that really helped me get one-on-one coaching and mentoring down. And I've developed some products that I really think will help people sort of get centered in their mind. They can really reach some goals a little bit easier and sort of be more self-aware. That way, where they're trying to change certain behaviors, they can be more aware of it and sort of do some self-coaching through some techniques I have.
And as a lot of our viewers do know, that majority of the people that we have on are 9 out of 10 times are veterans and stuff like that, which Eddie, you're definitely, I know you're not a veteran. Do you come from a background of anybody that serves in your family?
Yeah, my father was Army. My grandfather was Marines. So my father was a very disciplined individual coming up. We had to make our bed a certain way, push-ups when we get in trouble, sitting squats, for a certain amount of time when you get in trouble. So being that he raised me this way, I was always paying attention to my behaviors, which is how I got into sales, which is how I got into sales management. Then I became a trainer, which is ultimately how I landed up here. So if it wasn't for, per se, the veterans, I wouldn't have the Mental Mechanic Institute because I wouldn't have had that discipline structure when I was growing up that my father had set for me. So.
Absolutely. That's absolutely amazing. And again, it's great, the stuff that you're doing, and what I've read about the stuff that you do and what you offered, let alone to the veterans, but to everybody, is it's an absolutely, it seems like it's really out there. It's what a lot of us do need, let alone the civilians, but what us here in the military do need, and the stuff that you do have. You also do offer military discounts and stuff like that, and I've met you through Keith Hayes, who hosts on the booth through Sinista1 Productions. You know, that was I think a couple weeks ago. What is your like? I know you went to college and stuff like that. If you can give us a little bit of background with your college. So again, I know you did sales and marketing and stuff like that.
Mhm.
What other stuff have you done within college to really
So,
get into this?
so basically, it was more like in college, I was marketing. So
Yeah.
I don't even really count anything I did in college that helped me with this, except for, interaction, social interaction.
Yeah.
But basically, I was lucky. So I got my first job at 10. I'm from Dayton, Ohio. So I lived across the street from the University of Dayton.
Okay.
Welcome Stadium was literally one block over from my house. So we had the gentleman that ran the concession stand at the stadium came to the park. We were playing basketball. He asked if anybody wanted to work. I said yes. I literally worked there from the time I was 10 throughout, graduating high school, just in the concession stand. So I developed a knack for communication, talking to people. Um, just adding additional products to their order. You know what I'm saying? So just
Yeah.
different things that, and just sort of getting a knack for behavior.
Yeah.
Who had an attitude, who didn't, and as a young kid, you learn how to, specifically navigate human behavior, especially talking to women. So, I was very communicative as a child. I
Hmm.
sold shoes. My second job after that was Foot Locker. I did that all through high school and college. Um, I technically didn't graduate college because I owed some money in order to graduate, so
Yeah.
that didn't happen. But just the experience alone, I was always in sales, always communicating and talking.
Yeah.
Like I said before, my father was in the military. My mother, um, it was a single family and single mother environment. So I would
Yeah.
visit my dad on weekends, but I was with my mom. Now, with my mom being the way she was very strategic in the way she operated.
Yeah.
Uh, because when you're on a limited budget, that's how you have to operate. So she also taught me a lot of things about paying attention to the details, the
Hmm.
smallest of details. So those two, the way my father operated, the way my mother thought, her thought process, it really helped me. So going to school, still working. The reason why I didn't really push for a diploma so bad is because my mother instilled this confidence in me that I knew I would be okay because I knew how to talk.
Yeah.
I knew how to think. I knew how to speak. So I never felt like it would be a disadvantage for me. So when I got out, it was very easy for me to get into sales. I became a general manager at Bally Total Fitness. So I didn't miss a beat.
Yeah.
And when you're in sales, you're on commission. And when you're on commission, every sale matters.
Yeah.
So now I'm paying attention to every word I say, when I say it, how I say it. I'm a soft scripter. So even when I do my sales consultations now with different companies, I always tell my clients, hey, you need a soft script. If you're thinking about what you're going to say next, you're at a disadvantage.
Yeah.
So if you can have 10 questions that you want to ask, now all you have to do is find placement. So now you're intently listening so you can figure out where your questions go because you do have a goal that you're trying to get to, but you're not worried about how you're going to get there because you know you got just enough bullets in your gun to make a kill, if that makes sense.
Oh,
So
absolutely. Absolutely.
so that's where I sort of cut my teeth. So my degree or my school typically, I would say, was car sales. 2012, I decided to go from business to business at T-Mobile, which was a fantastic job.
Yeah.
It introduced me to speaking to CEOs and high ranking C-suite positions. So I got used to talking to high level individuals and got used to speaking in a certain way to where, I could break through. And then, getting into auto sales, I was 100% commission. So I had to have a strategy to where I could be close to 100% close rate. That always was my goal. So I started studying sales books. I started getting into neurology,
Yeah.
which basically is how the mind works. And through doing that, typically you learn through your failures. So if you have a bad month, I'm having self-assessments. I'm going over every single thing I did wrong. Every time I know I said something wrong, what I could have said different. And that's when I started really writing. So 2012, I used to keep notebooks. I kept a notebook for every month on my sales. Every client, I would take notes. I would write down things. I would do my self-assessments at the bottom of my page. If I had a client I wanted to close for the day, first thing I did when I woke up was write the date, what I wanted to do, what clients I wanted to close, because I knew I was close. So I'm being honest, I kept so much detailed notes on myself, and I did so much self-assessments. And we all know as males how it is in your 30s. That's when your ego is the biggest.
Yep.
That's typically when you had the most failures. So I had so many, my ego was so out of control in my early 30s. I learned so many lessons from myself. Burn bridges, but success, high,
Yeah.
I made money during sales. So it was easy for me to see what I was good at and what I was bad at. And all I did was make the adjustments because I had the notes. I had the information that was there to provide for me to say, Eddie, you can't do this anymore. You need to switch, to switch this, you need to switch that. You do this well, but you could do it better. This is your biggest weak point. Which for me was, and usually for most of my clients, it's being aware when you're doing something the wrong way while you're doing it.
Yeah.
It's slowing your mind down to notice your mistakes while they're happening and being able to push the brakes on yourself and readjust while you're in the moment and not afterwards.
Okay.
So,
Yep.
so sales and then sales management, leading people.
Yeah.
Now I know how to, navigate my own mind. Now I'm teaching people how to navigate theirs. Leaders creating leaders.
Yeah.
How to be a good manager. My first management position, I probably wasn't the best leader because I was trying to I was moving through my own perspective. I was managing people like I would manage myself. So it took me a few years to learn, hey, you can't treat everybody like you treat yourself. So I
Yeah.
started learning different coaching methods on how to navigate these different personalities. So now instead of managing customers and their behavior, now I'm managing my other salespeople. So I'm getting to learn other skills through their strengths, and I'm starting to learn how to manage their weaknesses. So through this, I coined this term in 2019 when I first started the company, sales psychology coach.
Yeah.
So I would literally just study people and their habits. All of my sales consultants, I would study everything they do. Other sales managers, ask them, hey, how do you handle this situation? How do you handle that? And through sales, luckily I got laid off January the 15th, and I had so much information. I actually started the mindset and performance in lieu of, in the direction of working with veterans. I have a very direct approach.
Yeah.
So I was noticing that my client list would be heavy veteran based because I speak in such a direct manner. It works very well for you guys, more than it works in a corporate setting. So when I developed my last 5 products, which I can go over shortly,
Yeah.
it was veterans in mind. And I said, I can work with this demographic. 18 males, 18 to 55. I really speak well to that demographic, and it just so happens because I work with males so well in that direct manner, I have a lot of women that also want to come on board because they appreciate it.
Yeah. Now,
So,
with
oh,
that,
I'm sorry.
yeah, no, you're good. I just wanted to get it in a little bit. As I was reading into it, is you don't just, again, as you just said, you don't just deal with certain age, like a certain age group, but you deal with a certain, like a big gap of age group. So it could be, the younger males as what they're going, or younger individuals that are just getting into the service to compared to the ones that have been out of the service for some time, and say for instance, Vietnam era. It's up to those guys, World War II veterans type deal, and things. But this whole thing with it is part of it. Is it almost somewhat, as I know you and I talked, we kind of looked at it, or you were telling me, but it's like helps with the anxiety, stress, but you build pretty much a roadmap on how you really want to take it and you guide through that roadmap with your clientele.
Correct. So it's more like making you aware of your stress triggers.
Yeah.
A lot of times we are so entrenched in our stress, like it's so much that we're not able to pay attention to what's going on through the day because we're just trying to get through.
Yeah.
So basically, what I try to do is help my clients be more aware of the stresses that they're going through so they can, pay attention to the trigger points. If I have coffee at 9 a.m. instead of 12, this is how my day goes.
Yeah.
When I leave the house and I don't, say goodbye to my wife and my kids, if I don't give everybody a hug, it starts my day off this way or that way. Typically during the day, somebody makes me feel this way when this happens. I'm asking the right questions so they can become more aware of how their day goes, so we can figure out where the stress points are. So when they can notice them, we can have actionable plans and strategies to go in another direction. I.e., when I get home, my wife always asks me to do this and do that as soon as I get home, and it pisses me off so bad, and it tips me off the rails, and I usually do this, or this. And it's like, okay, hey, well, listen, when this happens, what questions can you ask her to make her aware of you just getting home in your day instead of you going off? So switching out a question for a statement, can be it can make a big difference in the way she perceives you when you having a stressful moment, and she can give you that hour or two to get through your day just on the way you rebutted her statement to you.
Oh, that's amazing. But I'll let you continue because I know you were still getting into it. So I do
It's all good.
apologize.
No worries at all, man. But these small things, I'm not really a rocket scientist. So typically the what makes the most change in your life is the things that's most easiest for you to do, but also most easiest for you to glance over because you don't think it makes that much of a difference.
Yeah. No.
You know what I'm saying? It's the make your bed theory. When you make your bed every morning, typically you're more organized throughout the day.
Yeah.
You do push-ups and sit-ups first thing in the morning, you usually are more disciplined with everything that follows. So, throughout the day, what kind of other behaviors are we modeling that would take us in the next day a little bit more strategic? So we're just finding ways to make you more aware of yourself and your day and slowing your mind down, because the day can run up on you. You can be so behind in things that you're trying to play catch up when really you don't need to play catch up. You need to reorganize. Mm-hmm. So I have this it's not a theory, but it's a post-traumatic stress tactic called the 4 A's of managing stress. There's adapt, avoid, accept, and alter. Right? So you can't do any of those 4 areas of stress management if you don't have detailed notes of how your day's going. So it makes you be more goal oriented. It makes you take better notes. It makes you take more stock of your behavior during the day, because in order to implement any of those 4 methods, you have to have knowledge of what behaviors you're exhibiting.
Yeah.
So, by default, subconsciously, you're only going to get better because you're more aware. So those are the things that I implement with my clients to make them more aware, so they don't need me. They can just do it themselves. I'm giving people tactics to manage stress on their own, not to continue coming back to a coach like me. I'm giving you tools to be successful forever.
Yeah, that's definitely a good way to as the way you're explaining it, with it, because again, it's going back. It's not setting those. You're not having the individuals to set lofty goals. You're setting them to set, short-term goals, to then also have that long-term goal in return, to be able to have your direction, like your pretty much your mindset on going straight. Sure. This is where you want to be, but let's set the actual realistic goals of let's make our bed in the morning. So now we can say we completed one task. And let's just keep going with those smaller goals to be able to get to that final, that end of where you see yourself, say, 5 years from now. So
hit the nail on the head.
Yeah. So it's you're pretty much shifting your current perspective to seeing what you're seeing yourself in the future. Now you pretty much. Is it just anxiety, depression, stuff like that you've got that you work with, or is it more? Have you gone into like as what we would call it in the military, MST, which is sexual abuse, like rape and stuff like that, in the military. Have you really gone into stuff like that as well that you're dealing
I
with?
haven't.
That you haven't.
No, I haven't. So this is how I separate myself. I tell people all the time, I'm not a therapist.
Yeah.
What I don't deal in emotion. So
Yeah.
the Mental Mechanics Institute is all about how you process emotion logically. I'm in the thought realm. So I help people wrap their mind around what they're going through emotionally. Now I have had clients that have went through those things, but that's not something that I'm able to help them with, even though I'm able to listen. I can always point you in the right direction. I have therapists that I can refer you to. So if there's any therapists out there that want to reach out, add me on LinkedIn, Eddie Estelle, and I can make sure you're on the referral list. But I don't really work with heavy trauma from the emotional state. I can help you work through it mentally. But typically, people that come to me, they are ready to deal with that from a thought form, because working with a mindset and performance coach means that emotionally you might be in a place to where even though it is still trauma there, you're ready to work through it. You're ready to push through those deep waters and work through it. So it's a little bit different than somebody being, stuck in that trauma and needing to go to a therapist. I either push people towards therapy, or after they come out of it, now they're ready to, get some actionable items to work through what they learned in therapy. It's either or.
So so you'll be like the before or after,
Correct,
of the events, which is, I mean, that's definitely good to know, because again, the viewers are gonna, want to know about that. Which again, if you can just say, tell them where they can reach out to you on this, if they want to have that, if they are a therapist or whatnot, where can they reach out to you if they want to be put down as a referral, be sent to?
Okay. So I'm on LinkedIn, Eddie Estelle. You'll see the Mental Mechanics Institute listed on my one of my links on there. Also, you can email me at eddie@mentalmechanicsinstitute.com. Just let me know, what your goal is. I have an email list on my page as well, so you can go add yourself as a contact, and I can reach back out to you. I have 5 products. So I have the decompression chamber, which is if you're dealing with anxiety, stress, PTS. Of course, we want to take that D off because it's not a disorder. It's temporary. We're going to work our way through that. The decompression chamber is an hour to an hour and 10 minutes of just you decompressing. Yeah. Saying what's going on, what you want to work through. We do actionable items at the end to sort of give you some steps to push through and work your way through. But like you stated earlier, everybody's not always in a stressed state. So if you are just getting out, all right, you just got out the military, or you want to go in, or you have a goal that you want to reach. I have a mindset mapping, which is you're not really going through stress, but you're unorganized in your mental state, and you want to put all your ideas in order. We want to prioritize them so we can say, okay, here's my dream. We break the dream down to goals. We break the goals down to processes. We break the processes down into micro processes. So now we've streamlined who you want to be over the next 10 years, and we have actionable steps and how we want to get there and when we want to get there. Then I have interview prep. Just coming, you may not, getting in front of these interviews, they can be stressful. So I'm putting you in an environment to where I'm interviewing you in a real live interview setting. And you're able to basically create a storyline for your resume and actually give life to who you are and how you can be a value add to a company. We've worked through it and just making it just a little bit more comfortable when you actually have your interview, because nerves can kill an interview,
Yes.
Then I have, like, seriously. And then I have the just my mental mechanics coaching plan. So 6 sessions, 8 sessions, 12 sessions, wherever you want to go. Whichever is most important to you. We can do bi-weekly, we can do weekly, whatever you prefer. And then I have a 15% military discount for all. So you sign up, we do a consultation, you show me your military ID, I take 15% off everything, and we keep on rolling.
Perfect. And that's absolutely amazing, and we definitely appreciate that, Eddie. I mean, again, it's stuff like that that's being offered out to the veterans. Sometimes we don't like to go through certain channels of, say, even through the VA, because we definitely sometimes we don't want to have that as being listed on our records sometimes, and that's we kind of want to be able to move and not have that on there.
Right.
So I know there was as the way I kind of looked at it and have kind of viewed it, it's almost like I wouldn't say I don't not hearing anything. Oops, that's my fault. So it's almost like what do you call it? Drawing a blank right now. I don't know why. I don't know why it was, and I didn't.
I can help you out.
Yeah, go ahead.
I can help just a little bit. So my method is, as a coach, my job is to get out of your way. When a lot of times people ask me, "Hey, well, what's your experience in this?" I've been coaching and managing people so long that I've developed a method for getting out of the way. Mm-hmm. So I'm a mirror of you. If I'm working with Doug, my goal is to become a second brain for you, so that when we're discussing what your issues are, I'm just making you aware of different perspectives and sides of the coin to where you might not view it like me, and we can come up with better actionable items for you. So my goal when I'm working with you is to become you. Yeah. So it's not that you're talking to Eddie Estelle, the mindset and performance coach at the Mental Mechanics Institute. It's that I'm talking to Doug, right? There's a Doug from the future, there's a Doug now, and then there's me, which I'm listening to what you said you wanted to do, and we're just throwing ideas out there. Hey, what do you feel about this? What do you think about this? Why would you do it this way? Here's what I would do. How do you feel about that? I'm helping you be more comfortable with where you are now, so we can move closer to who you want to be in the future. And if I impart any of myself, if my ego is in that, then it's not you. So my job is to get. Can I curse?
Oh, go ahead.
Okay,
what? It's fair game.
Cool. My job is to get the fuck out of the way when it comes to you and your personal development. So I've developed a strategy for staying out of your way and not, putting any of my mojo in your tea. Yeah. This is all you. This is all Doug. That way, when you actually complete the mission, you did it because of you. Yeah. I helped you, but it was 98% you. All I did was bring some things to your awareness, but now you can do it. You can do it twice. Every man has to reinvent himself 6 times in his life. So I'm just helping you get a blueprint to where the next time you have to start completely over, you know exactly what to do, and you know exactly how you want to do it because you have a strategy and a blueprint to do it.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely it's where I was definitely going. You're definitely reading my mind on this because you definitely took what I was going to say out of my brain. Which is, it's almost like you've taught yourself to be able to take that stuff out of read someone's mind, out of their, read their mind and be able to push that through so that you now can understand, what you're trying to do, and then you're pushing it out to be able to provide it to you, which then it's like, again, like you're saying, it's like me, Doug, I'm controlling, doing 98% of it, and then you're doing that 2%, which is be able to push it out and be able to show me this is what you're trying to do, this is how you need to do it, or whatnot. So I'm gonna get into with this is, again, you have the decompression chamber, you have the guidance and stuff like that. You're able to make that roadmap between things. So say that someone says, hey, okay, we've gone through 6 sessions, but I kind of want to do, another, 2, 3, and it's not like the increments of like, say, the 12 or 15 or whatnot. you will definitely, you're able to take on clientele like that where it's like, okay, hey, you know what, let's do the 12, but let's do, now we're already at 12, and say let's do 13 or 14. That's something that you're able to accommodate and schedule, like
Yeah.
stuff like that. All right.
Yeah, I can do it a la carte, after we do the initial session. So if you feel like you need three more, two
Yep.
more, four more, hey, I'll make it happen.
Oh, that's absolutely good. Again, a good way to do it. Now, say that it's like, as you were talking, it's you're helping people to get into doing that, the real life interviewing in a real life situation, which again, a lot of people, even myself included, for being out of the game of not have to go and do interviews. I know a lot of people are going through that situation, and sometimes it's, they've been out of that game of doing an interview, which, yes, it definitely can be stressful for anybody. But it's the way you're putting it, it's like, you're able to do that kind of session and be able to do that. Do you do stuff like that? Do you do it like in a group session, or is it a single session, like a single one-on-one individual? Because I know some of the interviewing nowadays are even going into it's like a group interviewing, which is even adds more stressfulness to the whole process because you're sitting into it. And I just found this out just because my wife was talking to me about it, and I'm like, you know what? They're doing group interviews now. I'm like, wow, that's crazy. I've never had to be a part of something like that, but that's like that adds more intense to the whole damn thing. Let alone being by yourself. I mean,
Yeah, it's kind of weird. If somebody gave me a group interview, I would assume they didn't want to hire me. But I do mines in a one-on-one session because that hour and 10 minutes that we're in there, we're doing live role play. I
yeah,
don't want you to be nervous. I want you to fail in front of me as
yeah,
many times as you possibly can. That way, when you get in that group setting, you've mastered yourself so well. You've already created that storyline to your own resume that it doesn't matter if you're in a one-on-one session or a group session. You know your material front and back, so you'll be confident in whatever setting you put yourself in. And,
yeah,
and in order for me to make you that comfortable and give you that confidence, we need to be in a one-on-one setting. I need to be able to pull different things out of you just from looking at your resume, asking you really hard questions. I want to make our interview role play more intense than what your actually interview will be, so it can last for a couple years. Like, okay, for a year, I know I'm pretty cool, and then when you get more experience, maybe you can come to me for a different job title, or maybe a promotion that you want. But literally, I want this to stay with you for at least 18 months.
yeah. There was some of the stuff is what I saw is, you also do like developing, leadership mindsets, stuff like that. So like as you're just talking, is getting into that promotions, is that's part of some of the stuff you do. Is there anything that I don't know. Again, it's like almost trying to push it out of myself. It's like is like really, how did you get into? I mean, into knowing a lot of this stuff, other than just I know as what we were talking about at the beginning, is
Yeah.
the whole. As you were a kid, you worked at the concession stand, started, learning certain things, be able to reading people, and then knowing that what took place later on in life, and as what your mother taught you, and had to do certain things and make sure that you pay attention to every little single detail, because details do matter in today's society, because again, you don't want to be incorrect on one thing and have it going out there. But it's like, you want to be able to make sure that you're, spot on, because again, a lot of things not having it spot on, it's
Right.
bad. But but is, really with that, it's like, you know, as you were doing it, there's no special training or classes to do to learn this stuff. You pretty
Right.
much had to self teach yourself this stuff and be able to put this out there to good use. Um,
Correct.
so
So so a little bit how I did that. It was all live experimentation. I'm lucky, man. I can tell y'all I'm lucky because I knew this is who I wanted to be
yeah,
at 40, 41. I'm turning 42 this year. I knew this is who I wanted to be when I was 10. I
yeah,
knew this is the type of work that I wanted to do. And I know it would take me this long to be able to do it at this level. One of my mentors when I was at T-Mobile, he told me, he said, look, man, you know, CEOs mostly have one thing in common. And I said, what's that? He said, gray hair.
yeah,
So a lot of the things you want to do, you're not going to be able to do till you've gained the wisdom and the knowledge to do it.
yeah,
So I'm blessed, man. I've went and I've gotten so many certifications. And when I've gotten them, it's not that I felt like it wasted my time. It's that it didn't speak my language.
yeah,
It didn't resonate with me. So what I didn't want to do, I got to a point to where I didn't want to keep filling my head with other people's perspective of how I wanted my company to be ran. So every job I've had, man, probably for the last 20 years has been live experimentation. And it's just a difference between knowing, hey, when something doesn't work out, was it my fault or was it their fault? And I have to be honest with myself on things that I needed to change. I'm a self-critiquer, and I've allowed, people I work for to tell me, hey, this is where your weak spots were. This is what I thought about you. Because just because I don't agree with you doesn't mean that your opinion doesn't matter. You could be totally wrong about who I am, but it's the way I may be coming off.
yeah,
My aura could be projecting a different message than what my essence does. You know what I mean? So I
yeah,
have to be aware of everything I'm giving off, so I can know how to how to harness my energy and direct it in a different way. And it took me a while to realize, hey, Eddie, you're not for everybody.
yeah,
So it doesn't matter how good I am, I'm not going to be effective in every setting. So it was only fitting for me this year with the events that happened that I went and I finally started like understanding what my strengths were as far as how I work with people and my purpose on this earth, how I can give back to people. And I'm thankful, man. I had the vision in my mind a long time ago that I was able to pay attention for all 41 years of my life. And I've developed a particular skill that I can say is unique to me. I can help you in a way that no other mindset and performance coach does because I've always stayed true to myself. And I've failed so many times being me. I've been able to alter, I've been able to maneuver, and I've been able to capitalize. So, like you
yeah,
said, there's no right answer. It's just I've been able, I'm thankful for this too. I was able to be alone
yeah,
for that time. I wasn't overwhelmed with a bunch of friends. I've always been sort of an isolated guy anyway, but I'm a huge studier. A lot
yeah,
of YouTube. I watch shows. I take notes. I've always been trying to become this person who I am. um, and this just so happens that this year I was able to catch him. I was able to catch the Eddie who I always wanted to be, and now I'm just trying to get better. I'm not a finished product. So just
yeah,
like my clients, I'm growing. I'm learning from them just as much as about myself as they're learning from me about themselves. So now you know that you have somebody that's not a finished product. So they're going to give you the best they can get. And not only that, if session 2 is not as good as it can be, I'm going to go back and game plan and tell myself, okay, cool, I can do this better next time. I might
yeah,
say, hey, I feel like I cheated you on session 2. Let me give you an extra one because I got some things. I got something that I want to pull out of you just a little bit more and make it right for the one I messed up on. So that's what kind of person you're dealing with. Somebody that's trying to be the best version of themselves. So
yeah,
you know for sure you can hold them accountable to do the same for you.
yeah. Now, as what also as, as I'm, listening to what you're saying, and, how you really developed yourself over the years, um, you know, it sounds like you have someone that you either, I want to say, idolized, or not maybe idolized, but you had someone that was like a motivator, to you, or you had you were always trying to set yourself as like having a famous quote. Like, for instance, I grew up in Daytona Beach, Florida. I was always brought into as like play football, play this, play that. So I always lived by the whole thing with Vince Lombardi. Vince Lombardi would always say, "Winners never quit, quitters never win." And so that was always one thing that always stuck by me. And the other thing was what my grandfather always said to me, which tied into the whole Vince Lombardi winners never quit, quitters never win, is don't ever let someone tell you you can't do something. Always prove them wrong. And that's how I always kind of lived. Let alone living up as my grandfather being, my idol to be able to be just like who he is. I also had my youth pastor, who I kind of looked up to. I looked up to, as well as my preacher, which I grew up Southern Baptist, and my preacher was Pastor Ron Williams. Still talk to these guys still, because that's who I was, and who I'll always be. And the only reason I'm where I'm at now is because of a lot of these individuals that played a role into it. So, is there one, I wouldn't say is there one quote, or is there one person that you kind of looked up to? Because again, I guarantee you probably looked up to your mother because who your mother was, and, how she had to be pretty much the, the person that raised you.
Yeah.
But is there anybody that you would say, who would you looked up to, and maybe a quote that you live by?
Yeah, so the quote I live by is in 2008 I moved from Ohio to Charlotte. That's when I realized, okay, as a mama's boy, I have to get out of this environment so I can start to create myself, because when you're taking risks, you'll always rely on your leverage. So I wanted to get away, and I read The Art of War when I was preparing to move. So my all-time favorite quote is, "The art of war teaches us never to rely on the likelihood of the enemy not coming, but rather on your own readiness to receive him." I'll say that again for the listeners. The art of war teaches us never to rely on the likelihood of the enemy not coming, but rather on our own readiness to receive him. That's my favorite quote in the world, because it was basically telling me, get ready. You never know when trouble is coming. The enemy will attack you whenever he's prepared. Not whenever you're prepared, but whenever he's ready. When you're sleeping, you wake, when you just got off early in the morning, you come out for work, you got a flat tire, you got to be at work in 10 minutes, you trying to get off, the highway's backed up, you got to be somewhere by a certain time. It could be anything. So psychologically, that's to answer your other question, that's how I prepared myself. I always was preparing for me. Because I know that on this journey, it was going to be so many obstacles that got in my way. I wanted to be mentally so strong that I don't even look at obstacles as obstacles.
Yeah.
Just look at it as some shit that was happening today.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it helped me taper my anger and my stress, because I didn't get frustrated in stressful situations. I just looked at it as a test.
Yeah.
And it helped me propel forward. Like, okay, whatever. Okay, I see you, universe, trying to get in my way, but I'm going to fuck the day up anyway. I'm going to change this tire, and I'm gonna get to work. Be late. They're gonna be mad, but hey, I'm gonna own it. Hey, I'm late. I had a flat tire. I don't believe you. Okay, awesome. I'm going to go to work. I'm going to kick ass for the day, and then it's not going to matter anyway, because I'm so good at what I do that me being late today shouldn't even matter. I'm a high producer. Yeah. And I always try to think that way, that my production will always overcome, any obstacles that I had in life. So that's been my moniker since 2008. And I've had many what I call mentors. Um, Only because I've been in the world by myself for so long, it hasn't been like a person, but it has been people. So I studied Napoleon for a while. I studied Hannibal for a while. When Billions first came out, the show on Showtime,
Yep.
Wendy Rhodes, which it was a mindset and performance coach. She had a background in therapy, and she ran, his empire as a sales coach with a background in therapy. So when I seen her doing that on the show Billions, that's what sort of catapulted me, like, oh, I finally see somebody doing what I want to do exactly the way I want to do it. And it allowed me to create an infrastructure for the Mental Mechanics Institute. And it gave me something to go off of. So in that fantasy world, I was able to create my reality.
Yeah. No, that's absolutely amazing. And I mean, as you're saying, part of the art of war, it's brings me to the other one, which is like when I got into the service, I ended up looking, because I did a lot of digging and a lot of trying to understand a lot of how I would say the officers would kind of study and how they would try to do things. I would try to I had ended up getting a tattoo, which is from General Patton, and it's "May God have mercy upon my enemies, because I won't." It's not just as like a lot of people may look at it as who I'm facing up against, like the bad people or whatnot. But it's just in general of, the enemies that you may have. It could be, again, the demons. You could be facing that. Oh, hold on one second. I gotta now restart that because my wife just walked into the picture and walked out of the picture, and
It's all good, bro.
it messed it.
Nah, it's all good. Nah, because listen, let's take this moment, because that's literally what you was talking about, right?
I know. It's like, wow.
That's literally what you was talking about. So you got to transmute that energy and push it somewhere else.
Yeah.
Because that needed to happen to make your point. That the enemy is not just physical.
Yeah. No,
It's mental.
it's mentally, it's really everything. It's
Yep.
it could be any, it comes in, the enemy comes in so many different ways.
Yep.
And that's what I try to explain to a lot of people, is that your enemy may not be just an individual. It could be in so many different ways. And I know I've got always some bad look at it, but I even did more digging with General Patton and trying to understand where he came about with this. But he was another person who was, religious, but also mindset that he wanted to make sure that he took care of the enemies that he had at his door, and it didn't matter what door it was. He always made sure that he crushed it. So, which is always amazing, and that's what kind of pushed me into some of the stuff, which, as you're talking, it's like, as we talked, and as you were mentioning, even last time we spoke, and this time as we spoke, is that you have kids yourself, which you have one that is you just had one that just graduated. Graduated yesterday, which is absolutely amazing, because again, that's you're going through all these things with life, and it's like you're picking this all up, and it's like you are showing your kids how to really be able to manage their lives later on, because how you're managing your life is showing to them how they should manage their life as they get older too. and how you just
Correct.
take it, go with the, as what they would say, go with the flow, go with the punches. So time is getting down there. So I know I got a few more questions to ask you. You know, again, you have the website that they can get, the viewers can definitely see you at that.
MentalMechanicsInstitute.com.
Yep, mentalmechanicsinstitute.com. You're also on LinkedIn. And again, that the LinkedIn is Eddie Style. That's Estell,
Correct.
and that's Eddie.
Yes, sir.
So definitely want to put that out to the viewers. We want to make sure that they can get a hold of you, as well as the viewers, if there's any that are want to be that are what do you call it, therapists and stuff. You can definitely reach out to him, send them a message, get the email email notifications, stuff like that, and he will be able to send referrals out to them, depending on wherever they're located at. I want to get into asking before we go is, do you do it virtual, or is this stuff all like your appointments? Is it all in person, where you're at now, or do you do virtual as well?
Yeah, it's all virtual. So when you sign up, we'll set up. I'll send you a Zoom link. We'll meet at the same place on Zoom every time we meet. That way, it's you're comfortable. You're in your space. You're in your zone, and you can be as vulnerable as you want to be wherever you're at.
Perfect. And then you, as payments and stuff like that, you probably offer like Visa, MasterCard, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And you probably take PayPal as well.
I don't have a PayPal set up. I do have I got Stripe and Square.
Okay.
If you wanted to do Venmo or Cash App, we could do that as well. But when you go through the website, if you want to book a session, it would be through Stripe.
Okay.
Yeah, and so when you go to when you click on whatever product you want, let's just say decompression chamber, you can pay right for your appointment right there, and you'll be good to go. I think it's a $25 calendar date hold, and then I'll take the rest before we have your first session.
Perfect. And again, these are good questions. And as the viewers, if you want, you can always chime in and ask any questions. This is going to be it. We are pre-recording this, so on the date that this gets posted, Eddie may probably be on the on here, maybe not, depending on if he has any appointments. But you're always more than welcome to ask questions in the chat, or if you want to definitely send them as a private message, you can definitely reach them out either at the website or at the LinkedIn account, and be able to ask those questions and get them answered.
Yep.
Again,
you go to the website. I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry.
No, you're actually answering what I was about to say.
You go to the website. If you look under, let me see what this is. It should, because I'm a keynote speaker as well. So that's my 5th product. It's keynote speaking. If you need me to speak to a group in regards to mindset, motivation, leadership training, I offer that as well. I am a speaker. But when you go to the website, you should see the tab for custom keynote speech, and you can book a session. That's for consultation on what your goals are, and that's how you get on my calendar. It's like 30 minutes, and we can go from there. So companies, programs, organizations, if you all need a speaker in regards to mindset and performance, don't hesitate to reach out as well. Eddie Estelle at mentalmechanicinstitute.com. You can book any of those sessions on my site. And when you go to the custom keynote speech, virtual in person, you go to book session, and that's how you can book a consultation for any of my products And it's a Calendly link in there that I allow you, give you my dates and times I'm available, and I'll take care of you. Right now, I'm available 7 days a week, typically 10 to 7 p.m. I'm on Central Standard Time. On Saturdays and Sundays, I got 10 to 2 early in the morning. That way I can still enjoy my day.
Yep.
I don't know how soon that'll change, the busier I get, but for right now, I'm available 7 days a week, and I'm looking forward to taking on more people, and I'm speaking in front of more groups, leadership, mindset, and performance, whatever it is, I got you covered.
Perfect. And we'll definitely be looking for that, and we'll be promoting you out there to get that more out there. Because again, to help you grow yourself and your the business that you're that you're in, you know, it's always nice to be able to get it promoted out there to everybody. You know,
Appreciate you, Doug.
you're very welcome. I appreciate you coming on and taking the time, because again, your time is very valuable. Just as everything else, it's we want to make sure that we help out everybody that we can. And you know, veterans, as you guys are listening to this, please definitely, if you're looking to have this, definitely reach out to him. He's one of the guys that I would say definitely go and see, and it's definitely something that could help you guys, because again, there's so many different treatments that are out there. This is one of them, and this is something I think people should be looking into, because sometimes you don't need a surgical treatment to be done to get yourself or get your head right. It's just getting it to a certain point and be able to cross over and be able, as you know, Eddie said, it's the before or after. You know, you could be doing the before and then also the after, once you're all done with any kind of, you know, therapy training and stuff like that. So again, appreciate it so much, Eddie, on this. I just called you Ed, but it's Eddie. But do appreciate your time, and you're talking to the viewers, because this is what we need. And I'm gonna have Beavis and Butthead take it over, and then we will definitely be looking forward to getting back with you again as well. So
Yes, sir. Thank you. Looking forward to coming back on.
absolutely, thank you so much again, Ed, and Beavis and Butthead, take it away for us.
Thank you for supporting Homeland Heroes Salute podcast. Please make sure to like and follow Homeland Heroes on all of their social media outlets. Homeland Heroes Salute podcast is a Fubar Studios Sinista1 co-production.